Good morning and welcome to the Meltdown. The show's going to be a bit more interesting than most. If you would, please grab a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to want to take some notes. Obviously, one of those notes should be our phone number, 281-548-2646. That's 281-548-2646. If you would hit option 0, you'll get a live voice. Be more than happy to chat with you about conflicting feelings or how to build the portfolio of a third, and a third, and just have a basic general conversation about the state of our economy. Folks, I try to stay focused on point and talk about precious metals and rare coins. And what I will really tell you is whether you're working for your estate, a trust, a large corporation, somewhere between 5 and 20% is an accepted norm to take positions in gold. Now, I've talked about a lot of topics about gold recently, from being able to play in the futures market at 10 ounces up to 100 ounces per contract. You can obviously take massive positions. And that's one of the things that JP Morgan Chase is doing, as are the other banks. Now, with the passing of Dodd-Frank and the Volcker rule falling in place, there's going to be a lot of stress, over 12,000 pages of compliance for smaller community banks to meet, because obviously the resources are there for the larger banks. Smaller banks are certainly the backbone of society. That's the way it always seemed to be over the last 100 years. But larger banks are in the position of doing bailouts and working with the government, and so they get a little bit of preferential treatment. Folks, my whole point in all of this is that money is what is dictating the day. And obviously funds move around digitally and they move very quickly. Now, today I want to focus on the metals a little bit, and I want to really get behind the fact that the spreads are widening. Things are starting to gain momentum as far as their credibility, their recognition, the premiums, and this is an area that doesn't seem to have bubbled up yet. If you're chasing real estate or you're chasing a stock, you've obviously got to look at the performance of any company before you decide that you're going to invest in it. That's obviously in the equities, in the stock market. But whether you're playing in the NASDAQ or the S&P or the over-the-counter, whether you're dealing in penny stocks or municipal bonds, everything's got to be weighted with a risk to reward ratio. Now, as economies start to deal with the onslaught of economic collapse, North Korea is in the news today. And being in the news is North Korea selling a large quantity of gold to the Chinese. North Korea's got an impending economic crisis coming. And so they're going to utilize gold on the first page of their assault to bring down their bills. However, they are absolutely, quote, cash rich in other types of metals and other resources that they can tap into. And so my message is, North Korea wants to sell gold. It's not going to hit the world market. It's going to hit the Chinese, and the Chinese are going to bail them out. And they're not going to bail them out in the form of dollars. They're going to bail them out in a form of currency that will allow for the settlement of debt to deal with the onslaught of mismanagement, if you will. Keeping in mind that North Korea really is a communist nation, and while the Chinese are a communist run government, people there seem to be getting a bit more independence. And so that's something that we watch here in the U.S. Because it's all important and it all matters. Now, I want to talk a moment about this little tax deal or the budget deal that Congressman Ryan and Patty Murray brought forth. Now, most people don't know Patty Murray that well, I being one of them. And so Michael and I are in here trying to get some information together about her. She's the 16th most senior member of the Senate. And so ultimately she's been around over 20 years. She won her first election in 1992. Her uh, campaigns have created blowouts with the exception of the 2010 run where she only won by about 4%. But other than that, she's pretty much been a hands-down winner. Numbers that matter to me, comments that are made or aren't made. John Boehmer did not come out and endorse anything. He did not say that the House is going to pass anything. This is the best shot that Ryan and Murray could bring to the table. And all it alludes to is that 2014 is going to be a disaster. Now, Janet Yellen will start her final run to be approved as Ben Bernanke's replacement. That should happen later this week, so we only have a day or two to see it start, but certainly by Christmas. Janet Yellen is a wild card. Janet Yellen believes that quantitative easing should be continued, that the government should continue to operate the way it has been. And I listened to some of the commentators this morning talk about QE1, and that stimulus package was something that was really set to be good for society. However, when you get done at the end of the day, all those checks ended up getting deposited into the banking system. And while it was represented as a bailout for us, stimulus for us, go pay off a credit card debt or go buy some clothes, the idea was that it was, quote, our money being refinanced into the banking system. So I don't think QE1 was worth a flip. Two was a maybe. QE3, absolutely worthless. No positive movement came out of QE. And so now we're at a place where we look at things, and I listen to what's going on out there, and the Treasury Department, the government, reports that we're operating this past month, November, minus $147 billion. Folks, that puts us, the Standard & Poor's put out on the wire this morning that economic recovery is going to be slow growth in 2014. And so you got all the traders that are sitting on the floor trying to figure out how to make how much money they can. And you realize that economic impact is $1.5 trillion, pushing almost $2. And so the budget, if it got approved by what Ryan and Murray have accomplished over the past couple of days, allows for some money to flow back into those things that were whacked by the sequester. 63 billion, according to Paul Ryan. And so I'm looking at the numbers, and I realized that when George W. left office, we had an unemployment rate that was supposedly in the neighborhood of 5.6%. Now we're at 7%. That's a 5-year low. But folks, the jobs that have been created, this euphoric 203,000, is important to the economy. It's important to the stock market. What hasn't gotten a whole lot of publicity yet today is that the budget deal is going to have an impact on the long-term unemployed. 1.3 million people are going to be added into the long-term unemployed. And the unemployment benefits expire on December the 28th. So even more chaos is out there as more people are going to get hurt. Another 850,000 above and beyond the 1.3 million, according to an article that was released by CNN. I worry about certain situations, and I look at what's going on, the Chinese still buying currency, the debate over Bitcoin and other digital currencies that come online, the impact that those currencies may or may not have on the U.S. banking system as the dollar gets defeated, as people run to a private currency. Now, you got to keep in mind that a private currency is quantum encryption, and that just means that it's not as easy to track. But obviously, someone's doing paperwork if they buy an apartment or a condominium or a car. There's paperwork that's got to flow. Are those going to be considered cash transactions and they become reportable? Because don't forget, we've got the Patriot Act to deal with. So you're sitting there and you're listening to Brett spout off all of these facts, and you're wondering, how does that equate back to the coin market. Well, let's see if I can't pull this together for you. I'm looking at the indicators in the stock market. That's the NASDAQ, the gold market, the Russell, the dollar, the Nikkei, crude oil, and it's all red this morning. Everything's losing value. And if you look at cross currencies, you can find the euro, the Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen on the positive side. Everything else is down. I'm looking at the gap narrowing further between West Texas Intermediate crude and ICE Brent C crude. Now we're down to about 10%. These are all very, very important facts. And so what I want to tell you, the numbers that I'm going to share with you, show that the premium of gold to silver, the premium between gold and platinum, while they stay somewhat stable, this is the buying opportunity. This is that time where you don't see the run yet, because when you see the herd and the herd starts to run, you're at the back of the pack and you wait for the product. I wait for the product. It can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to receive product when the market shows more demand than there is supply. And that's what's getting weighted on people right now. So most investors, most newbies, if you will, to the rare coin and precious metals market want to stay as close to spot as they possibly can. Well, the U.S. Treasury is about to shut down its facility for the calendar year. That means that they will start retooling and preparing to make a run, if you will, for the 2014 material. And so, yes, you can pre-order it and you can play the market if that's what you want to do. I'm looking at the fact that gold had a bottom of 1254. It's had a high of 1264. And while the metals all started red, they're all coming back and we're headed to flat markets or we're going to go green. And so this is the message. This is clear, concise, and logical. Buy low, sell high. Own different types of coins because that's what the government says you need to do. Detroit just got their pension plan pilfered to the tune of 80 percentage points. And so the conversations that I'm having with my clients, talking about situations where you can lose 80% of your net worth. Don't forget, folks, it was only 2007 to 2009 that most investors lost 40% of their net worth if it was still locked up in equities or other forms of the market. That's coming again. And I've talked about the crest cycle. I've talked about economic cycles. This is the area that has not bubbled up yet. And the elite want the elitist type material. To see a mint state 67 plus 1796 quarter go in a less than 100 years, 80 years, from a value of $100 to 1.5 million, the guy who spent the 1.5 million is not expecting to take a loss. And what he's really concerned about are dollars, currency, the value. If Detroit can go pilfer a pension plan, you're a target next. And if you've got money in a 401k, it's not your money anyway. I know you look at the statement and it says your name and your spouse maybe, or the trust that you've put it in. It's not your money. It is dictated and it is managed by the company that is matching you on funds. It is all a target for the U.S. government, and the government can do whatever it wants at any time that it chooses to do it. There are so many things and so many different positions that get taken. One of the things that Michael was sharing with me were some of the committees that, sorry, I just drew a total blank, that Patty Murray is a part of. She's on the subcommittee of defense. She's on a subcommittee for energy and water. She's on a subcommittee for homeland security. One agency, Labor, Health, and Human Services, education and related agencies. She's on the military construction veteran affairs subcommittee. She's on the subcommittee for transportation and housing and urban development. And the list continues. So here's a member of Congress, personally, that I didn't even know existed until this morning when I saw her walking out with Paul Ryan, who many people wonder whether or not Mr. Ryan should even be the one who's leading the charge for the Republican Party, let alone working on a budget that is going to encompass upwards of 11,000 pages. Folks, buying rare coins, gold and silver, maybe some platinum, is simple. You send the funds, you wire them in, we go back and forth a couple of times, we talk about what you're going to own, why you're going to own it. And for those of you that are still buying into gold and silver and you're not getting miscellaneous types of material in multiple qualities, you're missing the boat. Good information is out there. And if you want to bounce some of those facts off of me, call the store 281-548-2646. That's 281-548-COIN. Or you can call toll-free 877-705-2646. Hit option 0. You'll get the live voice so that we can take your call. And if I'm tied up, I'll give you a shout back. But it's the time to put your foot down and start to question the money manager, the financial planner, your spouse. Do things a bit different and protect yourself from what's coming, because when Congress, when those that are in authority tell you that 2014 and 2015 are going to be rougher years, and you got all these traders that are managing billions of dollars telling you don't worry about it, that's the time to worry, because they're worried about it. Whether they're managing $2 billion or trillions of dollars, listen and watch. And it's more of watching the actions when they get to areas that must be disclosed by the SEC or FINRA. So many different agencies to deal with, so many areas of the market to be involved in. The question is, do you want some privacy? This is part of the link to privacy. Anyway, you can email me anytime. That's Brett, B-R-E-T-T, at thegoldexchange.net. Brett with 2 T's at thegoldexchange.net. That's how you email me. And I work pretty much Monday through Saturday. Sundays are God's days, and I always respect that one. Folks, it's the time to ask questions. It's the time to get your toe in the water. I'm more apt to tell people to get their whole leg in the water, because what's going to happen is you're going to wake up one day and you're going to see gold up $100 or $200 an ounce. You're going to see silver move by $5 or $10, and you're going to find that here we are at $20.50, and we'll be back at $40 or $60, and we'll set new highs. The highs will be higher. The lows are higher. That's the cycle. That's what I keep trying to impress people with. The different types of coins are out there. We just got to agree on how to build the portfolio based on what you've got to work with. Anyway, I try to never get off air without talking about Texas Children's Hospital, both the Downs Clinic and the Ronald McDonald House. It's the holiday season. Please go by a discount department store or any area where you can buy some toys for the young kids that are at Texas Children's, that are expected to be between 500 and probably 700 kids admitted into Texas Children's between Thanksgiving and Christmas. They would appreciate the toys unwrapped. They'll take care of all of that when they distribute them. But folks, this is that time where children need our help. Now, if you visit themeltdown.com, there are 2 donation banners. One is to the Downs Clinic, the Meyer Center. It's located just south of the Fannin campus now, because Dr. Ostermeyer, who assists all kinds of children with disabilities, could use the assistance. My son Jason has mild Downs. They're very important to me. The Ronald McDonald House is the other banner. And there is a facility inside of Texas Children's on the 4th floor, 20 rooms, between probably 40 and 60 people a night will stay there so that they can be with their children during the evening. If they go back and rest a little bit, they can take different watches and be with their kids. There are the folks that get donations, obviously, through the Ronald McDonald House. But if you can provide a hot meal or a tithe or an offering, you can click on the banner, or you can call them directly. That's 832-824-8600, 832-824-8600. Nancy Allen and her staff would be more than happy to assist you. Now, I should be back this afternoon with an afternoon update. If you've got questions about rare coins of any type, who's graded them, why they should be or shouldn't be graded, all you got to do is reach out for me. Appreciate you listening. We'll be back this afternoon. God bless you. I hope you're getting information out of this, and I hope you'll give us a call or an email. We'll be back this afternoon. Have a great day, and thanks again.